Give me a hug.
I got it still on.
Guess I'll have to peek at me. Hello. Jessica, thank you for the introduction, and I appreciate it. I'm humbled to appear with this group and honored to be your speaker tonight. I work in a public school, a big one. And this public school has hundreds of kids millied about, and they are well dressed. That's good to hear, right? They are well dressed. However, when they go home, they are not as well dressed. What does he mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is that that table off in the corner near the front of the entrance of the school, that lost and found table, gets taller and taller and taller, gets loaded up with beautiful garments, beautiful clothing, beautiful sweatshirts, sweatpants, jackets, and more. It's amazing how many items that these kids leave behind. I can just hear the mother or father at home, like Junior comes home shivering, and they're wondering, well, where is that $65 Kansas City Chiefs jersey or hoodie? And the kid, well, it got hot in PE, and I took it off, and I must have forgot it. These items are lost, but often not reclaimed or found again. This shirt, somehow, there we go. This shirt will never be lost. It was owned by my 32-year-old daughter, who died just over 3 years ago of heart and lung condition. A slow chronic process is what that was. This shirt is a prized possession of mine, and no, it won't be lost. Laura was born with a major heart defect, and as an infant she had open heart surgery, and then that was fine for about 2 decades, and then at age 28 she needed to have a fix, needed to go in and repair what had been done before. So that was what happened. That surgery took 23 hours, and open heart surgery, and then she was in the ICU, intensive care unit, for 5 weeks after that, and then physical therapy for months after that. Well, as you can guess, this took a toll on her, and she became dependent on external oxygen. Her lungs were pretty much trashed. And so what happened was you've seen these, who's seen the oxygen tanks, the green ones, green and silver, they're on the little rack, and you pull them on behind you. A lot of you are nodding. Most of that time, that's old people that have that, not 32-year-olds or 30-year-olds, 30-somethings. The good news was that she was mobile. She could get around. She wasn't bedridden or something like that, but she could throw that oxygen tank in the car and go, go, go. And she had a rich social life, and even moved in with her fiance for the last 2 years of her life. So, that was pretty good that she could do all that. I got to admit, when she moved out to live with Kevin, her fiance, I did not immediately miss the drone of that oxygen concentrator. Has anybody had one of those in their house? Oxygen concentrator about that big, like this, like a clothes hamper size. It grinds all the time. Didn't really miss that at all. And if we ever wanted to know where Laura was in the house, all we had to do was follow the 75-foot oxygen cord to whatever room she was in, and there she was. So now, of course, I wish I could hear that droning oxygen tank again, don't I? And you know what I mean. Several of you are nodding. So she passed at age 32. She had a do not resuscitate order. She's in her 30s. She's an adult. She can make these decisions herself. And that was fine. I've not been on a ventilator or a respirator, so I can't make that decision for her, and she did. The thing about it, Laura, was that she was at such peace with the idea of going on to the other side. She was spiritually secure, if you want to put it that way, that this was going to happen to her, and she was okay with that. I've never met anybody who was that stable with it. It was wonderful for her to see, not for us, but she was calm. So the question becomes, after she passes, how do you react? Do you react to that? What are all of your reactions to the loss of your children and your relatives? For me, I played some number games. Laura died on the 9th of a month. And her mother, 9 months after Laura died, my wife of 40 years, Lisa, died on the 12th of the month. And so I would just cling to the 9th of the month and the 12th of the month and be sad on those days and grieve on those days and sometimes cry on those days. You know how it is. Something about those death anniversaries, those anniversaries, those dates. That was me. I even decided to create what's called the 10.5th of the month. Have you ever heard of the 10.5th of the month? That's halfway between the 9th and the 12th. I said, maybe if I only have to grieve one time, it won't be as bad. If I just grieve in the 10.5 of the month, that'll be better. Such is the brain of a grieving person. I think you all understand how crazy we get. Well, the 10th and the 10.5, something happened the other day, very recently. I was just going about my business and I realized the 9th and the 12th passed by without me noticing. Even the 10.5 passed by without me noticing. So how can this happen? How can this be? What have I become? Have I forgotten my wife and my daughter? What is going on? Am I a monster? Am I a terrible husband and father? What is going on in my life? And I realized, no, I'm not a bad person. You see, grief, as you all know, I've talked to some people already who have had their losses decades ago, but you're still here. And grief, as we all know, is always with us. We just get used to it. Wouldn't you agree with that? Grief is always with us. We just get used to it. Other reactions I've heard of people to the loss of their child or their loved ones. I've met people in this room who jump in head first with organizations and charities and groups that they can help. That help them remember their child, help them honor their child. So there might be some medical related group or some other kind of group of some nature that just helps us to remember our person. I've met other people who, I've met other people, I know in this room, maybe several people in the room I don't know, who have been part of the whole organ donation process. That's kind of the ultimate gift. I mean, yes, it's terrible to lose our child. However, there are many who benefit from that. And I don't know how many are in this room, but I'm sure there's many lives who have been improved and saved because of what we have done and what you have done on that front. Or there's the Sierra Langdon and her son Samuel. Samuel died 3 months after, Samuel died 3 hours after he was born. Sad, of course. Sierra continued to harvest and pump her breast milk. She produced 500 ounces of breast milk to give to other premature children. She said, because of Samuel, I had the milk to give, so it only made sense that I would honor him in that way. There's other ways to help other people and to share our grief and move on from, not moving on, but move forward somehow. There's food. Yeah, people, you've all been through funerals. Food. No, I'm not talking about funeral food. I'm talking about surprise food. What I mean by surprise food is that, how about picking up something from the supermarket and just something easy and quick, not that you have to even prepare, and dropping it off to some other grieving person. Now, key is to not drop it off anywhere near the funeral, and don't drop it off anywhere near the annual anniversary or the annual date of the death anniversary of that person. Drop it off at 7.3 months or 14.2 months. Just drop it off some random time. Why? Do we do this? Do they need the food? No. You know why. It's the act. It's the act. On that random time, that random moment, they're going to realize that, you know what? Someone is thinking of me. Someone cares enough to remember my child, my loss, and here they are supporting me. It's not about the food. It's about the act. Or you could do like Winnie the Pooh and Tigger. They hadn't seen Eeyore around in a while. The little guy looked at me when I said Eeyore. Hadn't seen Eeyore around in a while, so they paid Eeyore a visit at his shanty. When they got there, Eeyore said, well, I don't have much to say. You know, in his whole typical way that he does things. So what did Pooh and Tigger do? They came in and they sat. They just sat. There's no magic words. There's no cliches. There's no panacea to make it better when you're trying to be there to comfort someone. Sometimes it's just good to sit. And someone doesn't have to feel quite that alone. I think Eeyore felt better. I did my share of sitting. After the funerals and all the noise and hubbub and all that, my adrenaline was finally settling down, and guess what I did? I wanted to isolate. I wanted to be alone. I didn't want to talk about it. I sat in my brown chair at my house, and that's where I wanted to be. I just wanted to plop there. I didn't want to talk to people and pick the scabs of my grief off my arms over and over and over. I just wanted to be alone. And I did. We do weird things sometimes as grievers, don't we? You develop some bad habits. I developed a bad habit. I developed an addiction. I developed a 2-pack a day addiction during my grief period. I mean, I'm still in my grief period. But back then, newly grieving, newly raw. 2-pack a day addiction. Did you know that a guy who's lost his wife and his daughter close together can actually inhale 2 packs of this a day? It's true. You know, there's a reason they call it comfort food. And you'll notice that tops are open on these. I have pulled back a little bit on my addiction, but I still have a hankering for this stuff. So there I was, getting fat, feeling sorry for myself, isolated out, and guess what? Laura visited me from beyond the grave. Now I have your attention. She did. It wasn't the clock stopping at the time of her death. It wasn't the pictures falling off the wall, landing on the floor. It wasn't a dreamlike state that she came to me and something like that. You know how she came to me? Instagram. Instagram, like a good millennial, she made social media posts. What she said is, Daddy, don't feel sorry for yourself. You've got so much to be grateful for. There are so many things that you should be grateful for. And you know what? She's right. And I learned about the Instagram videos after her death, and so it was literally like a message to heaven, from heaven to me. And she wanted to use her story. She was decreasing lung capacity for 4 years, and several trips to the ER and the whole drill. She wanted to use her story to inspire and motivate and help other people who had health issues or medical problems or hurdles or speed bumps or whatever you want to call them. She wanted to really help in that way. And so she made the video. And we're able to share that with you tonight.
Hello! Good afternoon, friends and family. Peace and good tidings to you on this gorgeous September day here in Omaha, Nebraska, United States of America. So I wanted to make a short little video on why it is important to be grateful. Being grateful helps you increase your happiness level. If you're feeling down, just think of 3 things to be grateful for, and if you do that for 21 days in a row, you'll feel amazing, because it'll be a new habit. And if you have a habit of having an attitude of gratitude, life will be peachy, keen, awesome. You know, like, most of us have it really, really, really well off, since we have a roof over our heads, we have food in the pantry, we have loved ones who care about us, and we can connect with them really, really, really quickly over the internet. That's pretty cool. So just things to keep in mind as you're going about your day, and I hope that this little doodity video could pick you up and brighten your day. That's my job. At least I like to think it is. Haha. So, have a good one. Bye.
She made that video about 11 months before she died. And again, she's just trying to help other people. When she walked on this earth, she wanted to help other people. She wanted to inspire other people. She wanted to be a motivational speaker. And now she is. Thousands of items get lost all over the world every day, every year. Most of them are never to be reclaimed or never remembered, at least, at all. This shirt will always be remembered, and it will never be lost. I want to ask you a few questions tonight. Despite the pain of our losses, despite the discomfort and the agony that we go through when we lose people, I'm wondering if these questions will help a little bit. Number one, what have we learned from our departed person? What did they teach us, our son or our daughter or our loved one? Secondly, how can we focus on the positive. What can we do to remember the positive part of their life, not the messy or bad parts of their departure? How can we remember the positive? And lastly, who can we help? Who can we help to honor our departed loved one? Certainly someone out there deserves the help of us and the honor that we can give them. When we answer these questions, it does not bring our loved one back. It does not change the story. Our person, is still lost. But when we answer these questions, they will forever be remembered in our hearts. Lost, yet found.